Hello everybody, this is AK. I'm back. Apologies in advance for any strange noises you might hear in this video, and in fact for all videos in the next couple of years or maybe 3 years. That's because there's some long-term construction project going on near my home, and well, this is Singapore, there's always construction going on somewhere, so very hard to avoid such stuff. So anyway, apologies in advance. Hopefully it's not too distracting. I mean, it's also hopefully not too distracting that I lose my train of thoughts. Yeah, so with interest rates coming down, I've been thinking of what to do with my dividends that will come in future, right? So regular readers and listeners know that I have been socking away cash, and mostly I've been using the money to buy Singapore savings bonds and T-bills, and of course I also have money in fixed deposits, right, to take advantage of the higher yields and the higher interest rates, right? But they have been coming down, and they are likely to come down even more for the rest of the year and in 2025. So what am I doing, right? So in the last video, I said that the CPF has become a viable option again. Of course, interest rates come down, but the CPF still have floor rates of 2.5% to 4% per annum, right? And of course, at 4% per annum, unfortunately, will cease when we are 55 years old, because the special account will be closed when we are 55 years old. That's one of the latest changes to the CPF system. So it's just 2.5% from 55 years old onwards. Of course, that's excluding the retirement account, which will continue to make 4% per annum. In fact, it's 4% to 6% per annum, as that will accumulate for at least a 10-year period, so that we get a lifelong monthly income by the time we turn 65 or 70. There's a choice that we can make. So that's CPF Life. For me, I'll be turning 55 in another couple of years. So I think the CPF being a viable option again, I will resume or restart voluntary contributions to my CPF account, right? So for those people who are newer to my blog or YouTube channel, they might not know that I have always been a big advocate of the CPF system, and I have over the years done voluntary contributions whenever I could not hit the annual contribution limit that's set by the CPF, the prevailing annual contribution limit. I think now the prevailing contribution limit annually is $37,700 and something, right? So for those of us who are not able to hit that annual contribution limit, I think making voluntary contribution to hit that limit annually is probably a good idea. It's a viable option again. It's a good way to save for our retirement. It is saving money, right? Basically, CPF is, like I said, investment grade bond. So when we buy a bond, it's like we're lending the entity money, right? When we buy a bond, we're a lender of money, and we get paid a coupon, right? And so in this case, you can think of it as lending money to our government, and we get paid a coupon, and that is the safest entity to lend money to. And it's not just T-bills and Singapore savings bond. We can also lend money to the government using the CPF, right? And with T-bill and SSB's yields coming down, CPF has become more competitive again, right? And it'll become even more competitive in the next year and a half, right? As interest rates come down, right? So there is something worth considering, but of course there is a cap, right? There's a cap. And for those people who have not yet hit their minimum sum, or now they call it the full retirement sum in the special account, they could do top-ups, right? So top-ups are independent of voluntary contributions, called voluntary contributions. They that is actually limited by the annual contribution limit. So there is a cap to how much we can do, whereas top-ups there isn't any cap. So if we have another $20,000 to go before our special account hits the full retirement sum, we can actually top up $20,000. But there's a big but, and that is if we're still working and we can benefit from income tax relief, then we might want to limit that top up to only $8,000 a year, because we get income tax relief only for the first $8,000 of top up per year. All right. So anything more than that, we don't get income tax relief. So we might want to spread out the top ups, you know, over a few years, $8,000, every year, just $8,000 till we hit the full retirement sum, right? And that, of course, would make 4% per annum, guaranteed, risk-free, volatility-free, till the time we reach 55 years old, right? I think 4% is not bad, you know. Seriously, some people poo-poo at 4% because they want their money to grow a lot faster. It's okay. All of us are different, right? If they think that way, so be it, right? But I think as a dividend, as an income investor, to get 4% dividend from a good company is not that easy. It's not that easy, right? Because especially when you think of it, a company their fortunes their fortunes could change, right? So it's not always a bed of roses, right? There's risk, there's volatility, but with a bond there isn't such a thing, and CPF, like I say, is the best bond available to us as Singaporeans, right? So topping up the SA is something we can think about. And for me personally, I'm thinking of plonking in maybe $20,000 or $30,000 before the end of the year into my CPF account. I cannot put in more to hit the annual contribution limits because I've used most of the money to buy Singapore savings bonds already, which at the time when I bought was still more attractive than making voluntary contributions to my CPF account. So that's just something that I'm thinking about this weekend. I hope that's provided food for thought, right? So if AK can talk to himself, so can you. Bye-bye.